All right, let's really dig into this. You've brought us some fascinating stuff today. It feels like this conversation about AI is just, it's everywhere now, isn't it?
Yeah.
University campuses, dinner tables, you name it. And it brings up this huge question, maybe even an existential one for education. What does it all mean?
Yeah.
For how we learn, how we check that learning, and well, how we prove we actually know something.
It's definitely a hot topic. And what's really interesting about the sources you shared, they don't just point out the problem, which is significant. They actually propose a pretty fundamental shift, a transformation in how education could work. The idea is, yes, make AI cheating impossible, but maybe deliver something, even better for students in the process. So today, yeah, we're doing a deep dive into this EON Reality platform. It uses extended reality, or XR. We'll explore how it's trying to tackle this AI cheating crisis and maybe even redefine higher education itself.
And it is a crisis, right? When you look at the numbers, it really hits home. The sources you've got lay out a reality that's, well, it's pretty stark for anyone in academia. We're seeing stats like, what, 92% of undergrads using AI tools for their work now.
92%. It's staggering.
And it gets worse. 40% think AI content would actually get them good grades.
Right. They have confidence in it.
And almost 20% have actually submitted AI work. They tested the theory. You even mentioned that by spring 2024, something like 2/3 of Harvard students were using ChatGPT weekly. Wow.
Weekly use.
It reminds me of that quote you found from the university department chair. It really sums up the student side of it. They said, students don't want to cheat. They don't want to erode the value of an education. But if you have 7 assignments due in 5 days and AI could speed up the work by 10-fold for the cost of a large pizza, what are you meant to do?
That quote really nails the dilemma, doesn't it? It puts you right in the student's shoes. And it raises that crucial question for universities, for educators. If the old ways aren't working, what do we need? What kind of innovation can actually restore confidence in, academic assessment? Because our sources are pretty clear, the usual responses just aren't cutting it. Things like handwritten essays or AI detection software or just appealing to the honor code. They've largely failed.
The detection software seems like a cat and mouse game. You can't really win.
Exactly. And not only are these methods often ineffective, but they make education feel kind of old-fashioned, disconnected from how professionals actually work today. So it really highlights this need for something truly transformative, not just like sticking plaster solutions.
Okay, so if detection's not the answer, and going back to purely handwritten stuff feels like moving backwards, this is where it gets interesting, right? The material you have describes a solution that kind of flips the script. It changes what you assess, not just how you try to catch cheating, this EON Reality XR platform. It's positioned not just as a tool, but a fundamental rethink. It moves away from those text assignments that AI can just churn out and towards these immersive, performance-based things that AI just can't do. Is that the gist?
That's precisely the core idea. And if you think bigger picture, it's about shifting focus, moving from what do you know in theory to what can you actually do. And crucially, doing it in a way that's verifiable. The EON platform does this with a few key parts. First, the EON XR immersive learning environments. And these aren't passive, like watching a video. We're talking interactive 3D simulations. You're actually manipulating virtual objects, making decisions in real time. There's even avatar role play with AI characters that look real.
So like learning by doing, but in a virtual space.
Exactly. Developing skills step by step, even working in virtual teams to solve problems. It's very hands-on.
Okay, that sounds way more engaging than just reading a textbook chapter. Less about memorizing, more about applying.
Precisely. And because it's so active, it leads straight into the next part, the EON AI-resistant assessment methods. Your evaluation isn't a separate test later. It happens through what you do in these scenarios, the actions you take, the results you get.
Ah, so the assessment is built in.
Right. The platform's tracking analytics in real time, how engaged you are, how your skills are developing. It allows for, authentic proof of competency. Instead of writing an essay about fixing something, you're actually performing the fix in a realistic simulation. AI can't fake that performance.
And you mentioned it links to careers. That seems huge for students worrying about jobs after graduation.
Absolutely vital. That's the third piece. The EON Career Integration Platform. This part is designed specifically to connect what you learn directly to what the job market needs. It maps skills to jobs, integrates with employer partners, tracks your professional development. It even includes things like business simulations for budding entrepreneurs. The goal is clear. Make sure the learning is relevant, immediately applicable, and recognized by employers. Bridge that gap between the classroom and the workplace.
Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts. How does this tech actually stop AI cheating? The sources you looked at mentioned it exploits a basic limitation of AI, right?
Exactly. AI is amazing at generating stuff, text, images, code, you name it. But what it can't do is perform actions. It can't operate in a dynamic environment, whether that's physical or virtual.
Right. Like it could write a perfect essay on brain surgery.
Yeah, but it can't actually perform the surgery,
Right.
even in a simulation. That difference is key. And EON leverages that limitation really cleverly in their learn, train, perform methodology. It's a three-stage process. Phase one is learn. Here, students are actively exploring these 3D environments. They're manipulating things, navigating situations. It's active discovery, not just passively soaking up information. You're doing things to learn.
Okay. Active learning. Makes sense. So once you've learned by doing, how do you make sure it sticks? How do you build the skill?
Good question. That brings us to phase two, train. This is all about practice, practice, practice. You get repeated chances in these safe virtual spaces. You get instant feedback. There's even AI tutoring that adapts to how you learn best. The focus is on getting better through repetition, mastering the skill, not just a one-shot attempt.
Okay. Learn by doing, train by practicing. And then the final assessment, the proof.
Exactly. That's phase three, perform. This is where the real assessment happens. You're evaluated based on your performance in realistic scenarios, ones that mimic actual professional situations. You have to show you can integrate all the knowledge and skills through your actions, your decisions within that dynamic environment. And because it's about performance, about action, external AI tools just can't generate it. It verifies true capability.
It really does sound like a potential game changer. The materials you shared list some pretty compelling reasons why EON feels this approach works where others haven't. First, obviously, the complete elimination of AI shortcuts. It sidesteps the detection issue entirely. Second, this claim of 4x faster learning. That's a big number. How do they explain that?
Well, the sources connect it directly to the immersive and interactive nature of XR. When you're actively involved, manipulating things, solving problems, getting instant feedback, your brain just seems to process and hold on to information much more effectively than, say, listening to a lecture or reading.
Like learning to ride a bike by reading about it versus actually getting on the bike.
Precisely. It's that active engagement that accelerates the learning curve so dramatically.
Okay, that makes sense. And beyond speed, the sources also hit on better student engagement, making learning feel more like a game, less like a chore. Plus, the career-ready skills, which we talked about. And interestingly, tools to empower faculty. No-code creation, AI assistance. That seems really important for getting teachers on board.
Crucial for adoption, absolutely.
And finally, for the universities themselves, a real competitive edge in attracting students and partnering with industries.
And the proof they offer, the metrics in your sources, they are quite striking. They talk about things like a 73% cut in the time it takes to develop learning content. That's huge. 68% cost savings. A 91% pass rate on quality tests for the learning itself. And yes, that 4x faster learning speed is reported again and again across different places using it.
Wow. And for academic integrity.
They claim a virtual elimination of AI shortcuts, and alongside that, a dramatic reduction in cheating investigations. That frees up so much faculty time and restores trust.
So it's definitely not just about stopping cheating. It seems to improve the whole educational experience.
That's the message. They report higher course completion rates, better job placement for graduates. Faculty seem happier and more effective. Employers apparently recognize the skills these students have more readily. There's that quote from Dan Lajerskar, EON's chairman. He puts it bluntly. Higher education faces an existential crisis. Students are increasingly disengaged. Our XR platform doesn't just solve the AI problem. It transforms education to be more engaging, more relevant, and more effective than ever before.
That's a strong statement.
And they back it up with partner quotes, too, like one educator saying, EON's platform has revolutionized our approach. We've eliminated academic integrity concerns while dramatically improving learning outcomes.
So thinking bigger picture, beyond just the cheating angle, this kind of platform seems like it could really shake things up for universities, giving them that competitive advantage, helping build stronger links with employers, really creating that clearer path from learning to earning. And it sounds like it's built to scale globally. The sources mentioned accessibility features.
Yeah, that's a key point. Multi-device compatibility is big, works on smartphones, tablets, computers, VR headsets. It's cloud-based, supports multiple languages, and has different pricing models to fit different budgets. The aim is global reach.
So for you listening, what does this really mean?
Well, connecting it back, platforms like this aim to align your education much more directly with the actual skills you'll need in the real world. Learning becomes more tangible, something you can demonstrate, not just something you know theoretically. And it potentially tackles equity issues by making these advanced immersive experiences available much more widely. The sources also make a point of highlighting EON Reality's history here. They've been in XR education for 25 years. They mention serving over 136 million users, partnerships in over 50 countries. It underscores that this isn't just a brand new idea, it's built on a long track record.
So wrapping up the main takeaway here, EON Reality's XR platform, based on what you've shown us, it's framed as much more than just an anti-cheating fix. It's presented as a potential major shift in how we learn, how we're assessed, making education ideally more engaging, more relevant, and much more directly tied to your professional life. It really changes assessment from recalling facts to actually performing tasks.
Absolutely. And that leaves us with the final thought, maybe something provocative for you, the listener, to mull over. How might this fundamental shift from just absorbing content to actively demonstrating performance change everything? Not just how we get degrees, but how we even think about the whole point and value of higher education in this new AI world.
That's definitely something to think about. We encourage you keep digging into this yourself. Consider what performance-based learning might mean for your own path, whether you're studying now or deep into your career.